Between the Pages podcast. Today we're going to be talking about rearing kids who love truth in a world of anything goes.
Right. Yeah, that's a good topic. All of your topics are good.
Thanks.
It seems.
I work really hard on them.
I'm Jimmy. This is Sarah. This is our podcast.
Sometimes I'm like, am I going to run out of stuff to say one day?
Yeah,
Hopefully not.
It hasn't happened yet. No, something. Plus, if you do, you can always go back and
redo stuff.
Yeah. So, but anyway, welcome to our humble podcast. That's
a good. Get your copy of JG.
Yeah, that too. JG is now in print.
Rearing kids who love truth in a world of anything goes.
Well, I mean, like we talked about, you raise crops, you raise cattle, you raise livestock, but you rear children.
Yeah.
And they're just raising children.
Yeah.
They're not rearing children, but rearing.
Well, that's what I said. I was like, wow, that is what some people do. They're just making sure they're fed, clothed, bathed, and that's it.
Yeah, and they're
make it to school on time.
Left to their own devices after that, and learn something or not.
Yeah.
It's up to you. It's not my problem. And so, but the rearing children is different. And so you rear children, you bring them up in the way they should go, and then they won't depart from it. So that's the way the Bible teaches that you should take the responsibility of parenthood and be responsible. And so, well, how do you do that? Well, I mean, books is a way of communicating, and especially like our collection of books. There's usually some character trait or virtue or character attribute, or something that each or different character possesses.
Yeah.
And then there's a general underlying theme, if you will, whether it's communicating with God, or staying true to your beliefs, or having a clean environment.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect to it. So, I mean, what do you do? I mean, as a parent, you have to decide, well, what's important for me? What's important for my family?
Yeah. Well, and that was the thing, the culture, there's the culture of you do you, and there's biblical truth. And so it's like, you really want to align as much as possible your ways in rearing with the biblical truth, not just, oh, you do whatever you want to do, because that just chaos.
Yeah, I think I'm going to sneeze.
Oh, yeah?
At some point, yeah. But, yeah, that's right.
Edit it out. It's one of those pepper ones, I'm going to sneeze. Just wait. And then it never comes, and it's like, it was coming, Josh,
well, I had this... So, you can pick a different book and, pick something that you want to work on.
Yeah.
And sometimes in parenting, it presents itself. You're going along just fine. All of a sudden, your child has a problem with sharing.
Yeah.
Or your problem...
well, and also, it's like when you have a household, and then you got the routine and things go on and everything's fine, and then you go out to a new place. It's like sometimes then that's when things spark out. Oh, I didn't know this was even a problem.
Oh yeah, you can have the most well-mannered child in the world, behaved, humble, whatnot. Get them in a crowd of other kids or whatever, and the next thing you know, you got the little Genghis Khan child or something. It's like...
That's what I said. I was like, man, I don't really take the kids to the store, because I either do like a delivery order, or I do like, hey, will you watch the kids or whatever while I go to the store. Eleanor went to the store the other day, and quite frankly, I don't really know the last time she actually went to the store. I mean, she goes places, but to the store. But to the store itself. And they have all of the Valentine's Day stuff out, which includes stuffed animals. And she's like, oh, I want one of these. Yeah. I'm going to pick this up. And it's like, no, you can't just pick it up and leave. And she's like, but they're right here.
Besides, it's better if you wait till after that.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, if they're still here afterwards, I'll get you one. And she's like, she doesn't understand, why can't I just pick it up and leave with it? Because that's stealing.
An opportunity to teach frugality. Well, from a store perspective, they're not gonna.
Oh yeah.
A 4-year-old.
Well, but she laid in the floor and was like, I want it, and I'm like, first of all, you don't ever do this, but at the house it doesn't matter. She's taking a stuffed animal from upstairs to downstairs or here to there, and that's all fine. Right. She sees it, she can take it wherever she wants. But in the store, you can't just pick it up and go. I mean, we had already checked out. They put it at the entrance, but it's also the exit.
Okay, yeah, of course, yeah.
And so it's like, you don't really notice that is a problem that we need to work on. Oh, no, you can't take this somewhere, because I don't mind. As long as it's not harming anything, I don't mind. Take your stuffed animal down to the creek. Whatever.
Yeah,
it might get muddy.
Well, hopefully it doesn't fall into the creek and you decide you have to go after it or something,
Yeah. Well, we don't go near the creek. I just mean down there.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that, in general,
off topic again.
Well, not exactly. I mean, because
it all intertwines.
Opportunity to rear children is presented throughout the day, and then you can have more structured time when there's a particular topic that you want to work on, or some, virtue, if you will, that you want to address.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, sometimes you don't even know that there's something you really need to address because it hasn't shown that it's a problem yet.
Well, but of course it will.
Yeah.
And so you can wait for it to turn up, or you can just go ahead and get in front of it and do it in advance. If it's saying something that's about like showing compassion or sharing or something, you can say, well, remember, honey, we've already talked about this. This is what that is. Oh, okay. Already is there in their head. Oh, I remember that or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you wait for say sharing problems to deal with it. Well, I don't understand. That don't seem fair to me. I want to do that. I want my toy now. I want to take it with me. It gets messy in a hurry. But you can't anticipate everything.
Yeah. I say sometimes you don't really realize it's a problem because you don't even think that would be a problem. I could imagine walking down the aisles too is terrible because they have all those little toys hanging down.
Well, it's all at that level.
I know.
Yeah. Well, that's marketing. Those are the people in marketing that do that. It's not
Stop doing it. You're making it harder for us while we shop. We're trying to buy food.
You're not the first parent to say that, and they're not going to stop. Okay.
Yeah. Well, even if I was going to buy a toy, I'm not going to buy a toy at the grocery store.
Well,
it's like you can get the same thing down at.
If you're
don't want to listen to the crying anymore, you'll just buy it.
And if you don't understand,
not me.
Well, if you don't understand the value of a dollar,
I've literally been in places and let me see if this is cheaper on a website that is like a river, but we're not going to say that because we're not whatever that's called. We're not sponsored here.
Yeah, no one sponsors us. Why would they? That's okay. I understand what you're saying. But the thing is check and see if it's cheaper somewhere else and say, look, if you do a certain number of activities, and clean up after yourself or take your dishes to the sink or, gather up some trash, then we'll look at getting you some type of reward or some kind of, that's one of the things I'm working on right now is, setting goals.
Yeah.
And having goals to work.
How young did you guys do that with us?
Pretty much as soon as you were able to comprehend that if I gathered up these trash cans, I would get compensated like a quarter or 50 cents or whatever your allowance was at the time. And then,
Did you guys match inflation for us?
It didn't really matter that much. Probably. The thing is...
Inflation wasn't that bad when we were kids.
Well, there was inflation. There's always been inflation. But the thing is the things that you wanted were fairly affordable.
Yeah.
Animals were... or something, it was like...
I know. I saw this really nice, it was like a Beanie Baby. It was nice, It was like the regular stitching and it actually taken care of to make. And I looked at the tag and it said Dollar Tree, and I was like, there's no way you would get this at Dollar Tree nowadays. Dollar Tree nowadays is like, takes a half a penny to make it stuff, like so cheap you can blow on it and it breaks.
Yeah, I haven't been in a Dollar Tree in a while, but I know that's a great place to get like party decorations.
Oh yeah, balloons.
Yeah, and to get lawn ornaments for the season. They're not
yeah.
I mean things that
they're just gonna just be broken at the
you don't
end.
expect them to last.
Yeah.
So it's a good place to go.
It's my go-to place for balloons.
Yeah.
Cause
but it's all a matter of what you want to spend. You can stuffed animals can get up into the hundreds of dollars.
Oh, I don't even understand. Sometimes will buy it.
Well, sometimes what happens is parent. That's one of the things they always wanted when they were a kid.
Yeah.
And so they buy it for their children because they never had it, or something. Or it's like, well, you only live once, this or that or the other, and you spoil the child.
Yeah.
There's a rationalization.
I get all that, but sometimes I'm like, what do you even do with it? Like they have those bears that are like 6 foot tall, and I'm like, what are you gonna do with this?
Well, it's there for today, and then it's over. And then you're on to something else, some other activity.
Anyway.
And it winds up going in the donation pile.
Anyway. Use character choices to talk about honesty. I'm really bad at throwing things. Talk about.
I think it's a coordination issue, is what I said in the past.
Integrity and courage. Which we talked about with the different,
Right.
And all of the characters really have some kind of characteristic like that.
Well, and that was the whole idea behind in the initial book with Jake and whatnot. We wanted a character that the child could read the book or parent read the book and go, well, I want to be like that person or that character. And so the characters in our books are have characteristics that hopefully your child will want to aspire to.
Yeah. Like
you would want to be, a Proverbs 31 wife, or you would want to be,
like Jake.
Like Jake, yeah.
Yeah. Or Johnny.
Or Johnny, the selfless servant. You would want to be like that person. Yeah. When Fig and Zig comes out, you'll see some of the antics that they do with the different activities. Those might be kind of things that you might want to try to copy. So, and they're fun. Some stories, the activities aren't such good natured. They're not.
Well, and that's the, gently correct stories that blur between right and wrong.
Right.
Because some stories they have the characters like do something wrong, but almost try to make it like they're the good guys.
Yeah,
and it's not.
Well, there's a technique where, a couple characters we'll just say, for instance, are bank robbers, and but you begin to see life through their view, and you begin to feel sympathetic towards them. Like you hope the sheriff won't catch them.
Yeah.
You hope they get away or something. Well, that's a literary technique. Well, in reality, you shouldn't think that way.
Yeah.
You shouldn't hope for the bad guy to win. You should be always hoping that the justice is served, and so if you're reading that type of book or watching that type of entertainment, then
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking of, because they do those. They'll have like the bank robber movie and whatever, and it's like they twist it to make you want the guy to get away.
Yeah.
That he succeeds.
Yeah, there's a psychological syndrome for that.
But it's not. It's like, really, you should be wanting them to get caught.
Yeah, there are people who wind up in hostage situations that become sympathetic to the people who are holding them captive.
Yeah.
They pick up their cause or they, whatever. And it's like, wait a minute, you're depriving me of my freedom and my ability to move about. And that's wrong.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be doing that. And the ends does not justify the means.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And so, those are difficult lessons to teach, because that's how you wind up with people who basically do things that are borderline not legal and think that, well, my cause is just. Well,
Yeah, but
there's
it's
someone
not.
else who thinks their cause is just too, but you
And then
don't see them behaving that
yeah,
way.
they're like,
So, yeah.
that's enough on that topic.
Well, you
I
got
have some things to say about that.
well, you got to teach
But-
that young. You got to
Yeah.
teach that young. You got to teach them. Okay, you know, you need to learn. You rear your children to restrain themselves
Yeah.
and to not be caught up in the emotion of the
Well, and they
situation.
do that a lot in kids shows too. That, like, not the. And that's why it's like shows are so weird, and it's better to do books. But they'll do it in those like the preteen shows and stuff, and even in like little sitcoms and whatever, where it's like somebody, they have a reaction to something and they lash out or they do this, and it's like that is just not reality.
Yeah.
You should not be behaving that way.
Yeah, right.
And then it's almost like glorified this negative behavior. But if you did that in the real world, you would just look like a crazy person. You would be fired from your job.
Well,
you would be arrested.
What I always attempted to do with you guys and all of y'all was when you started getting into something, I was like, okay, y'all, just realize there's a crew.
Yeah.
On the other side of this, there's a camera. There's people sitting there going, cut, take, action,
Yeah.
It's all pretend.
Yeah.
It's not real. And, there's been very few actors that, that I believe, I mean, not Barney Fife. I actually believe there's a Barney Fife out there. Don Knotts was a heck of an actor. He was very convincing.
Yeah.
But it's just a character.
Yeah.
It's
not who he really was in real life.
No, he's not anything like that at all.
Yeah.
And so
I actually heard this one character say that. It was like he was talking about things, and he was like, I am this character on this show.
Right.
People come up to me in real world and expect me to be like that. He's like, I'm not. That's not who I am.
I'm not anything like that.
It's just this character I play, and he's like totally different. He plays like a physics dude or something, and he's like, people, like smart people even, will come up to him expecting them to be challenged. And he's like, I don't know anything really about this stuff. No. I'm just an actor.
Yeah, I'm just reading the lines.
I'm just reading the lines.
They give me to read, yeah. And it's like, and so the thing is you have to learn to differentiate between what you see in the television or on the movies as not the real world.
Yeah, it's not. It's just like entertainment purposes.
Yeah, and the COVID thing was a prime example. A lot of the policies and procedures that they implemented came out of Hollywood, came out of movies like 12 Monkeys and different shows that they came out with before the pandemic occurred. They go, oh, this is what we should do.
Yeah.
And that was how they established policy. It was based off of something that wasn't. I can
created in Hollywood.
Yeah, I can remember. I read the Spanish
flu
epidemic.
Even Hollywood in general, they even different things that they do. It's like protocols or different things. It's like that is not how that in the real world.
Yeah.
It's like that's not how, whether it's some kind of police thing going on or some other like medical thing or whatever. It's like that's not how that would work.
People sit around and they freak out about the chance of nuclear war or some asteroid or extinction level. And they've calculated, the actuary guys, whoever, insurance people, they've actually gone out and calculated what the probability is of that. For war, atomic war, is like less than 1% or something. The fact that an asteroid might hit the Earth and wipe out everybody's like 2% or something. It's a small percentage of the chance of that.
There's so many movies about it.
Yeah, right. And so it's just part of it. But the probability of a pandemic is 48%.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty high. And so, and I read that, and so I'm like, well, what did people do in previous pandemics? And so I bought books on swine flu or the 1917 epidemic flu that came out that killed millions and millions of people. And I was relating that to my manager, because we were all quarantined. And I'm like, well, in the previous pandemic, what they did is they quarantined the people who were sick,
not the healthy
and they
people.
let everybody else just run about.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, that's not what we're doing this time, Jimmy. I'm like, well, okay, but that's what worked. That's what works, and what you're doing is, and basically shut down the economy over, you know,
Yeah, a lot of businesses went under. I mean, they just
they're
stopped.
still going under.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing is, you look at those previous pandemics, and what would happen is the fact that you are here today. Most likely, if you're of European descent or something, means that you survived several different plagues.
Yeah.
Bubonic plague, but different plagues that crossed through the European continent. Your ancestors survived, because if they didn't,
you wouldn't
be here. Unless you were born, you were a little kid or something.
Yeah.
So your ancestor was. So so it's that kind of thing. And so, well, when you're rearing children and you want to be able to teach, virtues and behavior and that kind of thing, well, you have to start reasonably young before the popular, whatever it is now, whatever fad it is, or whatever theory it is that's in play now, comes into play.
Yeah.
Because
well, that's the thing, to help your kids see truth, but also in a loving, not harsh way. Truth doesn't. There's like truth in like, oh, back and forth. Someone lies to the other person. They're not being truthful. They're being dishonest. But then there's also truth in what you actually see. And I think that's, a lot of people have said that even with all the AI stuff nowadays, because it's like, before it was like, oh, you never really know what on the internet is true or not. Well, now it's even harder, because you used to be able to go, oh, if it was a video, it was true, because you could actually see that, it's really moving and stuff. But now that's not even the case.
Right.
You can see a video that's not real. It's not a human at all. It's not a pre-recording. It's nothing. It's just a computer.
Right, and there's no disclaimer.
And so it's like,
either.
There's
or
no
if there
disclosure.
is, it's in very small print.
That's really interesting, because I'm taking these classes, and that was normally the syllabus is say no AI allowed at all. And this one I was reading, it was like modified. It was a yellow flag instead of red. And it was like, you can use AI, but you have to disclose it and give credit to it. Which I was like, yeah, you should. You should have to disclose it and give credit to it, and people don't.
Those kind of rules are for honest people.
Yeah.
Dishonest people don't care about
well,
what
in
your rules are.
Reporting world, remember I read that in those news reports. They'll say at the bottom of it, like, oh, this was generated using partial AI or whatever.
They might.
They might not. Well, that's the thing. They should have to. Like the whole.
Well, I mean, so how do you enforce that?
Enlarged for.
Oh, yeah, you can always say they should have to, but how do you enforce that? Usually, it comes down to, for people, you can claim to be this or that or the other, but the truth of the matter is, what are you doing when no one's looking? When no one's looking, what do you do? That is really the indicator of. And so there's some people out there who, if no one's looking, they're just going to do something that you might perceive to be unethical or whatever. Yeah. And unless they get caught.
Which, I mean, I guess was always a thing, because
always
you used
has
to say
been.
People, even that you've seen around, would just sit there playing solitaire or whatever instead of working.
Well, I mean, in the Old Testament, in the old times, the priest would come out and they would offer their sacrifices to God, and when their shift was over, they'd go inside and start offering incense to other gods, where nobody could see them, when nobody knew what they were doing. So that, I mean, it's as old as the hills. Deception and people not being who they are. And so what you want to do is you want to instill those types of beliefs when you're rearing your children early. So that when they grow up, they'll be tempted just like anyone else, but they may go, well, no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah.
Well, but also that they can see it, that they're not deceived. This was actually a really good topic, and I wasn't even meaning for it to be that. But, it's hard sometimes to see what the actual truth is.
It's about impossible.
Yeah.
And so at some point you have to go, there's a couple of different things. You got your head, you got your heart, you got your gut. And a lot of times your gut's telling you, no, I don't think this is right. And 8 times out of 10, your gut's going to be right about that. So you got to learn to trust your gut feeling, as they call it, because it's telling you, no, something's not copacetic about this. Something's not on the up and up. Something's amiss here. And you may know what it is. You may find out later, or you may never know what it was, or that you avoided, or you didn't go into. And so discernment is a difficult thing to teach.
Yeah.
And, your heart will tell you one thing today, and it'll tell you something else tomorrow. So, you got to learn to take what your heart tells you and run it through the rational part of your spirit and go, okay, I know my heart will lie to me. I know my heart is who can understand it? And so the thing is, it'll deceive you. So you got to learn to, be based on fact. And like I say, fact is kind of a difficult thing to come by these days. But yeah, if you can find a fact or two, then that helps in your decision making.
Well, and that's what I want to leave you guys with today. When you're reading the stories and different things with your kids, ask them, what was one true thing that happened in this story?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in these stories that we
Yeah.
have, but yeah, again, other stories, there's truth in there.
Yeah.
And so,
And that's what we said before in one of the choices was, people who have to find out if this is a counterfeit dollar or not, they don't go and study the fake dollars. They really study the dollar. The original print. Right. And so if you study the truth and you're able to know what truth is, it'll be easier to know what's not true.
And there's some really good counterfeits out there. So,
oh, yeah.
I mean,
Well, let me tell you about it. that is all we have for you today on this episode of the Between the Pages podcast. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Like, subscribe, follow. Yeah. Like, follow, and subscribe are the same thing. Yeah. But and thank you for all your support. Thanks. Bye.